Alright, good afternoon. Figured I'd come out here and talk to you guys out there in the internet world while I get away from it. Alright, as you can see, I've been using this little body cam setup a little bit more because it frees up both my hands. I got my Patreon thing all set. If you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. I'll probably tweak the settings a little bit. I'm still learning how to use that. So yep, I had some news yesterday, got a couple more hits today, and it sucks that I had to miss something important, but it's one of those things where right now I got to focus on myself, because this begging for money and subscriber thing, it just doesn't really work. I just don't feel right doing that. I like to come out here, just empty my thoughts. Not sure where life's going to take me, but then again, is anybody ever really sure? And I know I don't have a huge following or anything. I did watch one video on how to get more subscribers or whatever, and that guy, he's clearly doing something right. More power to him. I tried a few of his tricks. Just see what happens. I mean, it was free advice. I didn't have to pay him anything, so, indirectly pay by subscribing. But, that's just how it works. It's basically like an MLM scheme. The only difference is you don't have to pay $500 to get in. And, again, I'm probably going to stop doing the room videos, except maybe on a weekend, because I guess I probably fell down into that, a little bit of a, rabbit hole, like some of the other people do. Let me try to do this, so, fell down a rabbit hole, trying to be like, the other ones that just sit there and look at an article or see a TikTok or whatever, and they just have to put their 2 cents, and I'm just like, no, I just don't feel right doing that. I suppose a rare time, be if I have to respond to said content creator's video, whether I agree, disagree. Well, if I agree, I probably won't, but if I disagree, then yeah, of course I'll post a response. So it looks like we've got a big boat out there. I know you can't really see much with this thing. It's a fucking $18 camera, and the headband I just found. So I got a fucking GoPro setup type of thing for 18 bucks. So again, right now I'm just focusing on myself. Hopefully, the one that, the interview I was hoping for was, they canceled yesterday. I had some other ones. Hopefully they don't cancel again. It looks like we got a hawk up there. And, so we'll see what happens. I mean, it's got to take everything a day at a time, it may come down to the point where I just have to choose between a car payment and a roof. I know I have, one of them listed for sale. It does need some stuff, and I've been plunking away at that myself. If you've seen some of my other videos. But, that's the nature of the beast, when you, buy beat a car. I'm not going to do a video on what to look for, because there's plenty of videos on that. Everybody beat me to the punch. Oh, plastic bottle. Fabulous. Assholes. Anyhow, I mean, this is just where I'm at. It'd be nice to see, some of us, smaller YouTubers, could at least, try to network with each other. You know, that will be interesting, like a social experiment. You know, just to network with each other. You know, even if you talk about different shit. You know, because eventually, you know, we're just gonna have to come together as a people. You know, like the ant colony analogy I use, or the swarm of bees. You know, we're just gonna have to. I mean, that's just what we're gonna have to do. You know, doesn't mean you have to like the person. And we all know left and the right really don't like each other right now. You know that, and I know that. But this is what they wanted. You know, we need to push back. You know, I'm not advocating anything or whatever, but it's just what we need to do. I mean, cicadas are in full force. But, you know, again, you know, this isn't, I'm not trying to be doom or gloom or anything like that. I'm still learning, you know, how to work Patreon. You know, if it does seem like a, you know, crowdfunding or a begging thing, you know, then I'm probably just going to close it down. Because, you know, I just don't feel right doing that. You know, especially in my current situation. You know, it's kind of like, I wouldn't feel right schlepping, you know, my music gear to come here or wherever, you know, with a tip cup, you know. That was just supposed to be a hobby. You know, not a means of sustenance. But anyhow, that's really all I have for you today. I think I'll use the same setup for some undercover bird watching videos. Anyhow, over and out. I'll talk to you.